Manhattan City officials say upgrades to Seco Park have hit a snag due to financial concerns. Concepts and renovations were approved by voters in 2017. However, since then, there's been a 50 to 80% increase in inflation, which has caused the park's projected cost to go up. The city originally had $8.5 million budgeted for the project, but those costs have projected to rise to about $15 million. City officials are still committed to it, and they're looking into ways to raise extra funds and lower costs. That was part of Friday's discussion at their annual retreat. Manhattan High will use the new baseball, softball fields, and tennis courts, with the city considering charging the school a fee to use them. The original plan was to add 12 new tennis courts, but due to the high costs, it will likely be closer to 6 to 10. Assistant City Manager Wyatt Thompson spoke on the importance of keeping enough courts in order to participate in events that are sponsored by the U.S. Tennis Association.
And they've got requirements, 6 to 8 courts for a regional or 9 to 10 courts for a state tournament.
City officials will continue their discussions at future meetings. The Flint Hills Discovery Center celebrated Kansas Day Saturday. Event supervisor Jonathan Mertz says there were some special guests on display to celebrate 163 years of Kansas statehood.
We have our state reptile, the ornate box turtle out, and he's a lot of fun. He's very active. And we also have the barred tiger salamander, who, to be honest, a lot of times is hidden away, so it's great he's out so people can see him and experience him.
Volunteers were on hand to answer questions and help with crafts, including volunteer Jack Sitzma.
Yeah, so here on Kansas Day, we're really excited about things we love about Kansas. And my display here is the bison. So the state mammal of Kansas is the bison. So that is what I'm discussing here. So the natural history of the bison, why they're important.
The Discovery Center also opened its new traveling exhibit recently, Thomas Edison's Secret Lab. That's on display through May 5th. Friday marked the end of the MLK Observance Week at Kansas State University with the annual laying of the wreaths at the bust of Dr. King outside Ahern Fieldhouse. K-State Student Belonging and Inclusion Assistant Vice President Myrta Chavez.
Every year at the end of the week, we celebrate by going out to Dr. King's bust. It's in honor of him having his last university address here on January 19th, 1968.
Members of Alpha Phi Alpha were responsible for the lighting of candles in Dr. King's memory. Wreaths were then presented to university faculty, staff, students, and community members. Associate Professor in the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design, LaBarbara James Wigfall, says the university will eventually be moving Dr. King's bust to K-State's Gardens of Engagement, which were designed by her students. Congress continues to work through short-term budget discussions in Washington, D.C. as it looks to avoid yet another possible government shutdown. Kansas Congressman Jake LaTurner joined K-Man Friday and says Republicans are continuing to press the Biden administration on some key policy issues, including a secure southern border and stopping the flow of human trafficking and drugs.
Folks flowing across our southern border, it isn't just a strain on our government economically, but it is a terrible thing for the fentanyl flowing across the border. It is the number one killer of Americans 18 to 45. 300 Americans a day are dying from fentanyl overdoses, and we have to do something about it.
He says Republicans remain adamant about cutting the $33 trillion deficit and says continuing resolutions are, quote, a terrible way to govern.
It doesn't allow people to plan ahead. It allows government agencies to, and puts them in a position to incentivize really bad short-term financial decisions instead of looking long-term. It's bad for our military, a lot of uncertainty for military families, which is a bad thing. So it's not a good way to govern.
Congress has until March to get a deal done. You'll hear the full interview with Jake LaTurner coming up as part of In Focus this morning. The Flint Hills Regional Council has announced a new executive director. Michael Couch, a former education administrator, will lead the organization. He had previously been a superintendent for Marysville USD 364, Republic County USD 109, and Haviland USD 474. Couch holds a master's degree in school administration from Northwestern Oklahoma State and a bachelor's in education from Oklahoma Christian. The organization is a voluntary service association of local Kansas governments from Clay, Geary, Morris, Pottawatomie, and Wabaunsee counties. Manhattan has become a new home for more than 200 refugees in recent years. The Honeybee Refugee Employability and Mental Health Program is a new initiative that's being launched by Valor Honey and Manhattan Area Resettlement Team. It will address the need for employment and mental health support through 2 comprehensive 6-month beekeeping and honey production training programs. In addition to imparting skills, The initiative aims to help rebuild lives, create a sense of belonging, and offer a pathway to sustainable livelihoods. The training will include classroom and practical learning, culminating in a certificate that will open employment opportunities within Valor Honey and the broader beekeeping industry. The one-year pilot program is funded by the Kansas State Office for Refugees under the Employability and Mental Health Initiative program. For more information, you can contact Idris Khalil at 785-477-2924. Sunset Zoo has welcomed a new tiger. Jaya, a Malayan tiger, came to Manhattan from the Little Rock Zoo in Arkansas on January 16th. In August of 2022, Jaya fathered 3 cubs with a female tiger there. Marketing and Development Officer Melissa Kirkwood says Jaya is a very laid-back and mellow cat.
Jaya is younger than our current male tiger, and as you know, we have a younger female, and so we were just trying to match that up a little for hopeful breeding purposes.
Jaya can be seen in the Expedition Asia exhibit at Sunset Zoo, which is open daily through the winter from noon until 5.
Good morning, I'm Troy Coverdale with your sports headlines at News Radio KMAN as K-Man's Morning News continues. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce at their best in the first half, then the Kansas City defense delivered another masterpiece against Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, helping the Chiefs reach the Super Bowl for the 4th time in 5 years. 17-10, the final in yesterday's AFC Championship game in Baltimore. The Chiefs having to go on the road as the underdog the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was cool. Just going into two hostile environments, having to come together as a team and to win those games and hold that trophy. It really was special. But if I had my choice, I'd rather do it at Arrowhead. So we'll try, after we go through the Super Bowl and hopefully win it, we're going to try to get it back at Arrowhead next year.
Kelce caught 11 passes for 116 yards and a touchdown, but it was a long reception by someone other than Kelce that effectively sealed the deal.
Mahomes will throw it. In the pocket, he's launching one long. Marquez Valdes-Scantling catches the ball at the Raven 30 on his backside. Shades of the catch he had against Cincinnati in the end zone last year in the AFC Championship game.
Mitch Holthus with the call on the Chiefs radio network, as now Kansas City will be seeking to become the first team since the Patriots 19 years ago to win it all in back-to-back seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like losing any games, so every loss I feel like is tough. We always had everything we wanted in front of us, and we had that mindset, and Coach Reed preaches that every single day we come into the building, and no one hung their head, and everybody was ready to go, and now we're going to the Super Bowl, and like I said, we're not done.
Brock Purdy rallied the number 1 seeded 49ers to a 34-31 win over Detroit in the NFC title game. The 49ers scored 17 points in an 8-minute span of the third quarter to tie the contest, then pulled away in the fourth. Gisela Sanchez led number 4 K-State with 18 points Saturday afternoon at Bramlage as the Cats outlasted BYU 67-65. Serena Sundell added 14 for the Wildcats, who moved to 20-1, 9-0 in the Big 12, but they played some of their worst defense per their coach.
I thought physically we got beat up down low. I thought off the drive we were very undisciplined. They had us questioning what we were doing. That's my fault. Yeah, that's my fault. I gotta get this team to play better disciplined defense, and this was probably our most uneven performance that we've had all year.
Lauren Gustin led BYU with 25 points and 21 rebounds on Saturday afternoon. The Cats are off until Wednesday when they visit Oklahoma. Jamal Shedd scored 17. Jawan Roberts added 14 and 6 boards. The number 4 Houston men beat K-State 74-52. Jerome Tang's team found itself down by 20 by halftime.
Yeah, their defense wouldn't allow us. Runs were one bucket. Those runs out there.
Cam Carter scored 16. Arthur Kaluma and Day Ames each added 11 for the Wildcats, which dropped a second straight.
They may be the best defensive team I've ever seen, and it was just hard to find shots. They do a great job. They're connected.
To add to the frustration, Tang was teed up for the second time in as many games and called out official Gary Maxwell in postgame.
There's got to be accountability for everybody's action. Mine are, y'all see it on national television, and I get a tech, and I have to answer that to my AD. I think everyone in this game should have accountability for something.
It's a quick turnaround for the Cats now. They'll host Oklahoma tomorrow night on News Radio KMAN and 101.5 K-Rock. The Manhattan girls basketball team took 7th at the annual Mid-America Classic in McPherson, defeating Wichita Northwest at midday Saturday 54-28. For the Indians, it's their seventh place finish all-time in 13 appearances.
Got off that good start defensively, forced a lot of turnovers. Even then, we didn't shoot great, but it helped that, like Cat Ball, got off to a good start shooting the ball, and that helped a lot. I thought our bigs did a good job inside of scoring when we got them the ball, and with our defense, defense and offensive rebounds, we were able to make some good things happen.
Scott Mall's team improving to 8-5. They're off until Friday. Their male counterparts could use that time to heal, having dropped a third straight Saturday night as they fell to Emporia 55-48. Coach Benji George telling K-Man following the game his team needing to adjust to physical play.
We're not getting space on the perimeter, and you're not downhill in a dribble or two, and we're just not solving that very well offensively right now, and we have to do a better job with it, because I think the scout's going to be out. That if you don't help off and you get up into them, that right now we're just struggling with that.
The Indians are also 8-5 as both teams will play at Hayden on Friday in Centennial League action. The Manhattan girls wrestling team took 10 wrestlers to the 4th annual Washburn Rural Women's Invitational Saturday, and 8 of them left with medals, 2 golds. Kayla Kramer finished with the title at 120, Sage Rosario at 170. Wamigos wrestlers took 5th as a team, Rock Creek's 12th at the annual Baldwin Boys Invitational Saturday. Knox Karnowski of the Red Raiders claimed the 138-pound title, the only individual crown claimed on the day by a local wrestler. Tonganoxie won the team title there by nearly 80 points over second-place finisher Santa Fe Trail. You can find a full rundown on both meets at newsradiokman.com.